Professor Crystal Hoole is a professor at the Department of Industrial Psychology and People Management at the University of Johannesburg. She's going to be one of the speakers at this year's PSYOPSA conference. And Professor, you're here to talk to us about employee well-being. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's talk exactly what employee well-being and psychological safety in the workplace actually is.
Okay, so psychological well-being is a multidimensional or an umbrella construct for what is thought to be essential for overall happiness and life satisfaction. And it consists of various elements such as positive emotions, engagement, purpose and meaning in life, personal accomplishment or personal mastery, and positive relationship. In plain English, it basically refers to the state of employees' mental, physical and emotional well-being in the workplace. And if all of these elements are in sync, one can expect that your employees will actually flourish in the workplace.
Now, if we're looking at the statistics in South Africa, lots of people don't have jobs. But amongst those who do have jobs, what's the status of employee well-being in South Africa?
I think we are bombarded by statistics of COVID on a daily basis because it's monitored and we account for it, and it's rightly so.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm really worried about is the devastating cost of employees not being well and coping in the workplace. You know, since the onset of COVID, organizations like Lifeline have recorded 4,000 cases per day, and the association of anxiety and depression, their caseload have doubled. But these are the cases that are recorded.
Yeah.
And you know, we don't openly speak about these things. What about those who we don't know about, who don't talk about it, or even worse, think this is the new norm? So those are the things that I'm really, really worried about. So I think, you know, work and life has become extremely stressful. You know, you just look at the challenges that we are facing, and these have been exacerbated by the onset of the fourth industrial revolution and COVID and things like that. Whether we have to adapt to the remote way of working and all the challenges that bring, reskill ourselves for a new way of working. You know, these things are adding additional stress that we are not used to, and we are extremely ill-equipped to deal with these things. Very few employees actually take time out for mindfulness, for self-regulation, for time out, and it's really concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can the employers do in South Africa to assist and support psychological well-being of their employees?
I think it's important that we also see the positive side of this, because I think it can be a very gloomy and a negative picture at the moment.
Okay.
So, you know, we are starting to see positive signs that employers are recognizing the benefit of investing in employee well-being, and there's a lot that they can do. One of the most important things for me is that they make it part of their strategic objectives in the organization. It must be part of their DNA, of the organizational culture. It mustn't just be an afterthought or a standalone or just another HR function. I think they are really in the position to create a conducive climate for employee well-being. And the employee well-being programs must be proactive, they must be preventative and not just focusing on the cure. I also think it's important that employee well-being is part of the performance conversation. They must enable and empower their employees to take ownership of their own employee well-being. Things like flexible work arrangements, job crafting, creating platforms for regular and open communication, as well as using your strengths in the workplace. I think that will go a long way in sending the right message. And lastly, you know, I think also it's important that organizations are authentic about it. If the behavior of the organization is not changing, nobody's going to buy into it. But there is a lot that they can do, and I hope they will follow suit.
I mean, this is a really interesting conversation, and I know you're going to be a speaker at the PSYOPSA, as I mentioned in your introduction. What types of things will you be speaking on?
So the theme, as you already know, for this year's conference is rehumanizing the workplace. So we are, you know, everything that we do and we talk about is about promoting well-being in the workplace. You know, workplaces have become less and less humane, and I'm really worried about the increasing demands that employers place on them. Employees are seen as commodities and not as human beings. So we really endeavor through what we're going to do at the conference and also through our other platforms at PSYOPSA to put the emphasis back on the human behind the number. And if we don't do that, we are going to run into serious trouble. And of course, we have got to do that in partnership with organizations and other like-minded organizations. We cannot do this alone.
It's a very interesting thing because, yes, you know, we're in this fourth industrial revolution. In some industries, computers have taken over, but that human element truly needs to be nurtured because you can't actually replace human beings.
It drives me mad when organizations say that people are the most important asset. We are not assets, we are people.
Right.
And we are the beginning and the end of organizations, and whether they want to realize that or not, they have to. But, you know, we've got to put our money where our mouths are. If we're not going to invest in our people and recognize them as people and promote their wellness, you know, organizations are forever going to be struggling.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, it was wonderful talking to you, and thank you very much for bringing this important message to the fore.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's really appreciated.
There we go. Professor Crystal Hoole, Professor at the Department of Industrial Psychology and People Management at the University of Johannesburg. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.